Hey, Caesar. Hey, Larry. What are you guys doing?
Oh, we are making a pumpkin pie.
You're making a pumpkin pie. Why?
For Thanksgiving.
For Thanksgiving. You realize Thanksgiving is next week, right?
No.
Oh, well, it is. But, good thing is a lot of pies you can bake and then freeze until you're ready to serve. So you could freeze your pumpkin pie, I guess. Caesar, what are you looking for? You got your pumpkin. You got, okay, do you guys even like pumpkin pie? I'm just curious. I mean, who's going to eat this pie? Because I don't care for pumpkin pie myself.
It's okay.
You like, how about you, Caesar? Do you like it? Do you like pumpkin soup, Larry?
That's disgusting.
That's disgusting. Maybe Millie likes pumpkin soup. Millie's not nearly as fussy. All right, so what do you all have to make pumpkin pie? Looks like you've got a crust, you've got a can of pumpkin, and you've got whipping cream. Oh, whipping cream. Do you want some whipping cream? Yeah, you want whipping cream before you've made the pie? I don't know. How about you, Larry? Do you want whipping cream?
Yeah, sure.
Okay, here you go. Put it on your hand here. Oh, it squirted. We made a mess. Sorry about that. How about you, Caesar? You want some? Open wide. Ah, there we go. Oh, hang on. There you go. Good job. Yum. Yum. Okay, well, you know what, see, Larry, we'll just kind of clean you up here because if you're going to, cook, you probably should wash your hands, huh?
Yeah, that's a pretty good idea.
Okay, well, here. Just wipe your hand off on that towel.
Okay.
Okay, so let's take a look at this recipe that you guys have got. Usually I read storybooks, not cookbooks, but, looking at this pie recipe, that does look pretty good. You might even convince me to try pumpkin pie. I'm going to turn the cookbook around because I don't read upside down very well. Pumpkin pie. All right, so you need a 1 recipe pastry for single crust pie. Caesar, that is not a pastry crust. That is a graham cracker crust. Details. Okay, so we're going with that crust, okay. So you need a 16-ounce can of pumpkin, which you have. You need sugar. Do you have sugar?
It's in the whipping cream.
It's in the whipping cream. Okay, well, you need some spices here. We need cinnamon, ginger, nutmeg. Do you have any of those?
Caesar?
I'm going to take that as a no, guys.
Yeah, yes.
Okay. How about eggs? Do you have any eggs?
We don't have eggs.
No eggs. We're all out of eggs.
Yep.
Did you eat the last of eggs for breakfast?
Yeah.
Okay, well, I hate to break this to you guys, but while this recipe sounds amazing, I don't think we can make this recipe because you just don't have all the ingredients. I'm sorry, but you know what? Never fear. I have to go to the store. So I will put eggs and these other ingredients on my list, and we can make the pie later, huh? And then would you like Miss Corrie to help you make the pie? Yeah?
Yes, please.
Okay, then we'll do that. Well, since we can't eat and make a pumpkin pie right now, much to Millie's disgust, maybe we ought to read a story about pumpkin pie. You think we should do that?
I'm sure.
Oh, okay, well, let's go head on over here and we'll read a story about the Tappleton family and their love for Thanksgiving dinner. Hi, honey. Did you want to listen to the story too? What do you think, Caesar? Does Millie want to come listen to our story? Yeah, you think so? Why do you have the can opener still? Is that thing like your binky? Don't suck on it. No. Silly bear. Okay, Millie, why don't you go sit over there by Larry and you can listen to the story, and it's going to be all about Thanksgiving. See? Thanksgiving at the Tappletons. Are you ready, Caesar? Why don't you go sit him over by Larry for me? All right. Thanksgiving at the Tappletons. This is a story by Eileen Spinelli. Eileen Spinelli is a great children's author. She's written a lot of really good books, and our library, her memorial library, has a lot of books by her on our shelves. So I encourage you to check out a lot of the things that she's written, especially if you like this story. So this is Thanksgiving at the Tappletons by Eileen Spinelli. Okay, Thanksgiving at the Tappletons was always a big day. Thanksgiving at the Tappletons meant, of course, the Tappleton family. Mr. Tappleton, Mrs. Tappleton, Jenny Tappleton, Kenny Tappleton, and grandmother and grandfather Tappleton, and Aunt Hetty and Uncle Fritz, and most certainly, of course, the turkey and all the trimmings. Turkey. Gobble, gobble. It was still dark when Mrs. Tappleton lit the oven and took the big turkey out of the refrigerator. Just then, someone knocked at the kitchen door. It was Mike, the milkman. Good morning, Mrs. Tappleton. I thought you might like some eggnog for the holiday. Okay, that's not Eggnog, that's milk, but we'll go with that. And Mrs. Tappleton reached for the eggnog. The turkey slipped from under her arm. Now, on a warmer day, this might not have been a problem. But this Thanksgiving Day was very, very, very cold. And the step was covered with ice. Hang on, sorry guys, my pages are sticking. Okay. Before she or Mike could even think, the turkey had slithered into the yard. "Get it!" shouted Mrs. Tappleton. Mike reached out, but the turkey skidded past him, through the gate, and into the street. "Hurry!" screamed Mrs. Tappleton. "Stop that turkey!" That must have been quite the sight. Mm-hmm. The milkman chased the turkey, and Mrs. Tappleton chased the milkman, and the turkey slid down the hill and into the pond. Plop! Splash! And it bubbled out of sight. Rub, 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 rub. Oh dear. When Mr. Tappleton came down to breakfast, he took a long sniff. "I don't smell any turkey," he said to his wife. "Of course you don't smell turkey," she replied. "You have a cold." "I don't have a cold," he insisted. Mrs. Tappleton shook some pepper into the air. Her husband sneezed. "Achoo! See," she said, "you do have a cold." Oh, Mrs. Tappleton. After breakfast, Mr. Tappleton put on his coat and scarf and hat and gloves. "I'm going to the bakery to buy our pies." Mrs. Tappleton handed him his boots. "Wear these," she said. "I know for a fact that it is quite slippery outside today." Sim's bakery was so crowded the line reached out onto the sidewalk. Mr. Tappleton hated to wait in long lines, so he went to the diner for a cup of coffee. Ooh, coffee. By the time he got back, the long line was gone. And so were the pies. No pumpkin, no mince, no rhubarb, nothing. Mr. Tappleton was afraid to go home with nothing. "2 boxes tied up with string, please," he said. Mrs. Sims just stared at him. "You mean 2 empty boxes?" "That's right." My, they feel light," remarked Mrs. Tappleton. "Certainly they are light," retorted Mr. Tappleton. "Mrs. Sims prides herself on how light her pies are." Silly Mr. Tappleton. Mrs. Tappleton set the table. She called to her son, "Kenny, you may make the salad. There's lettuce in the crisper and carrots and radishes too." Kenny's face grew pale. Just yesterday, he had emptied the crisper and fed all the vegetables to the rabbits in Mrs. Butterworth's class. Oh no! How could he tell his mother? He couldn't. So he covered the empty salad bowl with aluminum foil and stuck it in the back of the refrigerator. When the others went to pick up the relatives at the train station, Jenny stayed behind to mash the potatoes. Every year this was her job and she loved it. This year, she thought, I'll make them even better. I'll use the blender. Just as Jenny flicked on the switch, the phone rang. It was her best friend, Nora. If there was one thing that Jenny loved to do better than mashed potatoes, it was talk. And Jenny talked and talked and talked and talked and talked to Nora. And she might still be talking today had not a wet glump of something hit her on the back of the head. She turned to see what it was. Splat! Another glump hit her in the face. The blender was going wild, and mashed potatoes were flying everywhere. Oh no, what a mess. Without even saying goodbye to Nora, Jenny hung up the phone, scrubbed her face, and wiped mashed potatoes from nearly everything in the kitchen. She finished just as the others came back. Uncle Fritz patted his stomach. "I'm hungry," he said. Grandfather Tappleton laughed. "I'm as hungry as an elephant." Everyone sat down at the table. It was a Tappleton tradition for grandmother to say the Thanksgiving prayer. As soon as the turkey is ready, she smiled. "I'm hungry as 2 elephants," said grandfather. Mr. Tappleton went to the oven. "I'll carve the turkey now." and he opened the oven door. The turkey is gone! Mr. Tappleton searched on the table and under the table and in every kitchen cabinet. He looked in the sink and in the broom closet. I can't find the turkey anywhere. Mrs. Tappleton took a deep breath. She told them how their fine turkey had slipped out the door and down the steps and across the yard and through the gate and down the street and plop splash into the pond. Ah, so much for turkey, said Uncle Fritz, and his stomach rumbled a little louder. Never mind, said Aunt Hedda good-naturedly. We'll fill up on all those trimmings. I'll get the salad, Jenny announced. Then Grandmother can say the prayer. Jenny set the bowl on the table and peeled off the aluminum foil. Everyone stared at the salad that was not there. I fed the rabbits at school yesterday, confessed Kenny. Uncle Fritz looked downright gloomy. So much for the salad. His stomach rumbled again. I'm as hungry as 3 elephants, sighed Grandfather. Kenny jumped up. We'll have Jenny's mashed potatoes. And he brought the pot from the kitchen and he lifted the lid. Well, I was on the phone, said Jenny meekly, and the blender went wild. So much for the potatoes. Uncle Fritz's stomach rumbled even louder. I'm as hungry as 4 elephants, Grandfather declared. The pies, cried Mrs. Tappleton. I'll get the pies. And I'll say grace as soon as the pies are cut, Grandmother smiled. Mrs. Tappleton brought in the boxes and set them down and untied the string. Oh, you brought home 2 empty boxes? She glared at Mr. Tappleton, who covered his ears. 5 elephants, groaned Grandfather. The dining room was quiet. Everyone looked down at the empty table. Uncle Fritz muttered something, but it could not be heard above the rumble of his stomach. A tear rolled down Jenny's cheek. No Thanksgiving dinner, she sniffed. Nothing to say a prayer for, sighed Kenny. Grandmother smiled. Of course there is something. There is more to Thanksgiving than a turkey and trimmings. And then Grandmother Tappleton asked everyone to bow their heads and to hold hands around the dining room table. And this is the Thanksgiving prayer, she said. Turkeys come and turkeys go, and trimmings can be lost, we know. But we're together. That's what matters, not what's served upon the platter. Amen. That was a wonderful prayer, said Aunt Hedda. Mrs. Tappleton jumped up. Hey, we have liverwurst and cheese in the refrigerator. I'll help fix the sandwiches, offered Mr. Tappleton. Jenny wiped her tears away. And I'll get the pickles. Kenny laughed. And I'll open a jar of applesauce for dessert. And so the Tappletons had their Thanksgiving dinner after all. Uncle Fritz's stomach stopped rumbling, and Grandfather Tappleton ate enough liverwurst to feed 6 elephants. In fact, everyone had plenty to eat. But most of all, they had each other. And that is what it's all about. That is what we're most thankful for this holiday season, that we can be with our family and our friends and those we love, and that we can be thankful for all the blessings that we have. Right, Caesar? And are you thankful for Larry this year? And Larry, are you thankful for Caesar?
Yes.
Anything else?
The library.
Oh, you know what? I'm thankful for the library too. I think that's a great thing to be thankful for. And I hope you all have a wonderful and happy Thanksgiving. And we look forward to seeing you guys again later. Bye.